Well, based on social media reactions, and even Haverock gushing to me about it, I can certainly say that chapter 102 has got a lot more people reading the manga again. And if you haven't, go watch the playlist below to catch up on my thoughts of it without having to slog over it for an entire year. Yeah, that's how bad it's been. But anyway, chapter 102, it's a biggie. Very Dragon Ball Z-like in that we're getting, as the main focus, a big old battle between father and son. Something that we've not really had in anger since about episode 90-ish of Super, when training for the Tournament of Power. We got a glimpse of what could happen when Gohan got Ultimate back, but now we've got Gohan Beast and Goku duking it out right as when Goku just turns up from Beerus' planet out of nowhere, giving us all emotional whiplash, to talk about that burst of ki he felt from Beast Gohan exploding similarly to how he did in the movie. There is no hanging about here, and that is a trend that will continue throughout the entire chapter. This is the thing that will make fans gag for even more, is that Goku immediately tells Gohan that he's coming to Beerus' planet with him right now, barely giving him any time to go and get some change of clothes. Whoa. No more hanging around with the likes of high school awkward romance plots here. No awkward dates with Mai, because Goku's like, with the other people, you know what, you can come too if you want. Goten and Trunks are going to Beerus' planet. What? This is nuts! And what caps all of this off and makes it very, very Dragon Ball, classic Dragon Ball gang, is that he's taking the entire transporter with Carmine and number 15 in it. Goku completely assuming that they're not the enemies, they're all friends here, and then just looks, well, that transporter can fit everybody. All I gotta do is touch it, and everyone will go. Yeah, sure, that looks like a red ribbon, but it doesn't say R on it, so that must mean they're friends. And he's just like, yeah, everyone can come too, because I just want to go fight. I can't believe how things have changed in the space of a few months. For the longest time, it's been one of the biggest tropes throughout the entire series, is that everyone complains about, oh, everyone's waiting for Goku, and then, oh, Goku steals the win for everything. But over the course of 2023, everyone's now clamoring for Goku to come back and do something. And then he comes back and does something that hasn't been repeated in a movie, and he's just getting the ball rolling. He's just getting the narrative going again immediately. He takes everybody Beerus' planet. There's no hanging around going, hey, how's your mother? How's Videl? How's Pan? And then you get an entire chapter of them just talking and then catching up, and then maybe they might go to Beerus' planet at the end of the chapter. No, within not even getting into double figures in terms of the page numbering for this chapter, they're already at Beerus' planet. And Beerus is just grumbling in the background that his planet is now just some kind of arena that he doesn't get to say about who gets to come and who gets to stay. Because remember, he's only just gotten over the idea of Chilai and Lemo coming to live with him, and that's only because Lemo's good at cooking, and Beerus is all about the food and stuff, and Chilai is less said about that, the better. But anyway, Beerus is just grumbling in the background. He's not important right now. And Whis is just there acting like Mr. Exposition. I can't believe this. Beerus and Whis are now acting like the guys on the side of the battle whilst everyone else is getting involved. So they're like the Tenshinhan, Krillin, and Yamcha, like, oh, they're doing this thing. Oh, no, sorry. Oh, Goku is doing this thing, and I believe this is called that, and I'm just explaining everything out to the audience, and even though I'm the strongest person in the universe, I'm just happy not doing anything. It's so weird. And they're strong, remember, they're not weak. Anyway, Goku tells Gohan to spar with him, as the latter reveals he can now transform straight into beast mode without going through all the other transformations. He can do this at will, after what felt like barely any time at all, but I guess Goku could change into Super Saiyan immediately when he was on Namek, so it's not really that much of a surprise. But all of this may mean that we will no longer see Gohan going Ultimate or Super Saiyan anymore in a proper full-on battle, maybe just sometimes for decoration. And finally, it seems that Gohan is going to listen to his dad and accept that maybe he should be ready for any eventuality that may come their way, because Goku wasn't there and bad stuff came and happened anyway. And yes, he has been told this since the Cell games, kinda, but whatever. Okay, he's listening right now and he's eager to fight. It's not Gohan going, well, I don't really feel comfortable fighting you. I wasn't taught this in a conference. But before he can immediately deal with his dad, Trunks' blabbering gets him into trouble, and he and Goten now have to fight Gohan in a little bit of a mini-spar because Vegeta told him to put his money where his mouth is. Ever since winning that spar, Vegeta's just been a little troll, hasn't he? And as for Carmine and number 15, nobody cares about their threat anymore. The only thing that Trunks cares about is if the camera that they have is on, because now that's the thing that's keeping them alive. And then we get the battle commencing with some cool cyclone attacks, which makes me miss Gamma 2 a whole lot, as Gohan turns into Super Saiyan. Remember, he's not in serious fighting mode right now, he's just taking things slow, like his old man in a way, so he is slowly turning into his dad. And I'm glad that the continuity from Gohan not needing glasses when he's transformed has remained from the movie, because that was a fascinating little tidbit. And the boys then remove their helmets because Gohan says it's probably for the best, and he should know, he has experience with helmets. And I think this is actually a really good little signifier, and I'll talk about that later. And what's a huge relief here is that when pushed, these two boys can fight decently, and they're not messing around all of the time, which means that they have some kind of use in future Dragon Ball battles. They have some functionality. Sure, they are comedy reliefs for the most part, but when push comes to shove, they can knuckle down and produce some good, genuinely good tag team moves when pushed. And Trunks wants to protect people. I think we all know who he means, and so does Gohan. He can relate because he wants to protect his family. But then that goes out of the window and we get Fat Gotenks again. But don't worry, it doesn't last long. But this would have been a perfect chapter if we got a proper team fusion of Gotenks fighting. And no, we get the fat one, he gets kicked into a tree. But I suppose there is a silver lining to this, because if he had turned into a perfect Gotenks, we wouldn't have got Goku in this chapter, because they then go immediately into the Goku match, with Mastered Ultra Instinct being turned on immediately, and Beast Mode coming in right away. Now, if there's one thing I can say about this chapter, is that there is absolutely no hanging around whatsoever, as we then get loads of excellent looking panels, and proper bombastic ones at that, except this one here. It's a little weird with Gohan's leg, but I guess that's a shading or something. But on the whole, it's a very intense looking fight, and we're only just at the beginning. And the talk from Gohan about Goku having trouble with Cell Max earlier on being a real possibility, I think it's a real possibility, since they are quite equal right now at the very start, and it looks like they are having fun as father and son. This is what we want from Gohan, some character development, to have some gosh darn fun for once that isn't about a conference, as Whis has to put up a shield to protect everyone at the end of the chapter, and Beerus moans about his planet being wrecked, as if he hasn't done that before. Now, all in all, this chapter feels like the showrunners, including Toyotaro, are aware that the last year of Dragon Ball in terms of the manga has been very slow and repetitive, and this chapter is all about making up for lost time and starting a brand new arc. We went from Goku meeting up with Gohan for the first time in a while, to them getting into the first phase of their fight in a single chapter, with a mini fight with Goten and Trunks getting involved as well. You feel like the only character that wasn't really being used to the full was Broly of all people, but if you look closer, he was being used, because he was representing us. He was just as flummoxed as we were as the immediate pace of all things. He had never met Gohan, Goten, and Trunks before, and he was starting to get to grips with the general understanding of who they were and what they could do and what they could transform into, because he didn't know that any of them could turn Super Saiyan. He only thought that Goku and Vegeta could do that. And considering how much he admired the spar between Vegeta and Goku, he's going to love the next one with Goku and Gohan going at full pelt, and probably will want to train even more. And probably lend some more fuel to the fire in that one day he might end up being the next god of destruction. So even then, Broly is being utilized somewhat, and that's really good because he's absolutely clueless right now. And Vegeta, well, that's okay, he can take it a little easy, since he won the sparring match with Goku before, and he was being used to push the boys into doing something instead of just posturing around once more, which was a genuinely good utilization of his character considering he's been doing an awful lot on Beerus's plan before. And this meant that the two boys were able to demonstrate how practical and useful they could actually be in a different manner and not relying on Gotenks for nearly all of the fight. And when we did get Gotenks, it was just as it should be, a gag. Just to cap off the fight, wrap it up quickly, and then within 2 pages, get to the next fight, which is what the manga is called. It's called Son Goku versus Son Gohan, or whatever. No talking or reminiscing, just Goku going straight into Ultra Instinct, and Gohan getting his epic transformation sequence. This to me feels like an apology chapter for all the readers who just wanted something newer and a simple fight between 2 strong guys. And I absolutely adored this fact that Trunks, for the longest time, was just going, oh yeah, I'm the strongest guy, I'm really good, I can take them all on. And then his dad's right there, and instead of Bulma getting angry and grounding him, he's like, oh yeah, well, why don't you put your money where your mouth is, son, and go and fight Gohan as the strongest person? I want to see what you can do. Oh, I'm evil in different ways now. I'm evil as a parent. Okay, that cheeky little spirit from Vegeta, I really, really like. That was a really good way of getting these boys to stop postulating and just get on with fighting. And what it proved is that they are good when they are given the full potential. Not to mention Goku's classic excitement on display. He can sense that strong people are around, and that strong person is his son. There must be a lot of pride going through his mind right now that he's managed to produce a fighter who has this power inside of him. He now no longer has to rely on Super Saiyan, that he has his own unique power that he can call on instantly, and it can provide him a challenge. It's not Ultra Ego, it's not Ultra Instinct, it's his own thing. It's not just Ultimate anymore that in theory anybody could learn. He's managed to mold it into his own variation that fits his personality deep down. The beast that is waiting to be unleashed. We see those bursts of anger when he was a child. Now it's been manifested and he can control it because he can do it instantly. All of this, it's character progression for Gohan, and this is fantastic. And Goku is understandably thrilled in his own special way because he wants to fight him right now. Not to mention, Toyotaro has been able to flex with all the battle sequences. He no longer has to worry about the awkward teenage romances or something. I'm sure we'll see that again, but it's now no longer the watchword or the main focus of the story. He can now just get on with the fighting, and now he knows that people will no longer hate him because they're getting Goku and Gohan fighting, and now everybody's happy again. And then eventually, we can get to the likes of Black Freezer and figuring out what on earth is his deal. And then we get Gohan finally starting to understand the lessons his father had taught him about fighting and protecting the Earth. And these probably might stick finally because he has a transformation that, can back it up. And then Gohan telling the boys to ditch the helmets and no longer hide behind a facade. That has an impact on their overall confidence immediately and their fighting potential, imparting the lessons that he learned as the Great Saiyaman in not hiding behind a helmet. That's a nice little nod there. And all the while, they had some cool combo moves after all, which do look impressive. Gohan had to take seriously the fight whilst he was in Super Saiyan. They gave him a little bit of a spook for a second there. And that is good. Every single character in this chapter was being used. Even Carmine and number 15 were being used for comedy, because remember, Dragon Ball is a comedy action manga. That's what it is. And there was that moment of levity where everything is happening, and then Goku just brings them all along because Goku is just that excited. He's that clueless. He doesn't know that these people work for Red Ribbon. Nobody cares about that anymore because Cellmax is gone. They're not a threat. And Carmine just wants to live. And number 15 is just like, oh yeah, sure, I'm the camera guy. Yes, I don't want to die. I miss my mummy. And they're on Beerus's planet. They have no idea. And I think Carmine now is just a bit like, I don't think I can actually beat them now. So maybe it might be worth just going along with what they're doing. That's a really good example of what to do with these characters. We're not just going to get another revenge thing and repeating themselves because, look, they're not going to beat these guys right now. Black Freezer is going to be the next focus in maybe a couple of months' time. But at the moment, you're making use of these characters and you're now giving Carmine a personality. He's now getting that identity and persona that we saw in the movie, but was lacking in the manga because he was just a general lackey. And now, as he's the main guy of Red Pharmaceuticals, he can now have character, finally. And that was one of the best things of the movie, in my opinion, and Hav's opinion. Anyway, this chapter, fantastic. really good, and I'm pretty sure that many people are going to read the manga now. And I hope you enjoyed it as well, and I shall see you again next month for the next review and the continuation of Goku vs. Gohan. Catch you later!